Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Gavin.
How's things, boy?
How are you this evening?
Mighty.
Welcome to an album review. What have we got featured as this week's album of the week?
This week's album of the week, Luke, is High Voltage by ACDC.
Oh, a heavy hitter.
Timeless, iconic album.
The first international release.
It's quite complicated. So this international album we're going to talk about is from 1976.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was the High Voltage.
Yes.
Released in Australia only.
Yeah, and
from 1975.
75, yeah. And I think High Voltage and TNT were on them albums. So High Voltage is the first internationally released album, as you said, Luke, by Australian hard rock band ACDC. It contains tracks completed from the first two albums.
So TNT was the other Australian only release.
Yeah, the other issued albums, High Voltage and TNT, both from 1975. So the album was released on the 14th of May 1976 in the UK. And then the 28th is, I think, is that today? No, it's tomorrow.
No, today is the 26th.
Yeah. 28th of September in 76 in the US. That's a big gap, isn't it?
Big gap, yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
It was recorded from, as the complication with the albums, but it's basically from November 74 to July 75 because of the three albums.
The three albums, you could say. Well, I think, before you go on, High Voltage, the international release, ended up being the best picks of TNT and High Voltage of the Australian releases. Yeah. And they done very well in the album charts in Australia.
In Australia, yeah. I think the Otago was England, wasn't it? They were mad to get to England.
Yeah.
It was recorded in Albert Studio in Sydney. Album is 44 minutes and 23 seconds long.
Did you spend much time in Sydney when you were in Australia?
No, just a weekend.
Just to see it?
I went up one Paddy's Day.
Right.
I done a few bits in it, yeah. Just reminded me like England.
Really?
So English, yeah. Yeah, very, like the buildings, everything just was very, very English.
The architecture, it's very similar.
Yes, very.
Except with sun all year round.
Yeah, and the big bridge. What do you call it? The Sydney Harbour Bridge and
the Opera House.
I was up at the Opera House and I done all that crack. The producer, Harry Vanda, and George Young,
who was the older brother
of Angus and Malcolm.
Angus and Malcolm.
Two singles off the album. It's a Long Way to the Top, April 74, and High Voltage in October 76.
Another big gap
for
the singles.
High Voltage was a commercial success, selling 3 million units in the US alone.
Back then.
Do you know what I was very surprised with though? Now 3 million's not massive in fairness, but it only reached 146th in the Billboard 200.
That was it?
Yeah, during 81 and 82.
Okay, so what, 6 years? Yeah, 6 years after the initial release.
It took time, took time. Tracks on the album, It's a Long Way to the Top, Rock and Roll Singer, The Jack, Live Wire, TNT, Can I Sit Next to You Girl, Little Lover, She's Got Balls, High Voltage. I have one wee note here on It's a Long Way to the Top was edited down from an extended jam by producer George Young, and the inclusion of the bagpipes, you know that story, yeah. Was George's idea, to add dynamic to the track. And singer Bon Scott had played in a pipe band in his teens, so George suggested he plays the bagpipes, but Bon Scott thought I was the drummer. But and not a piper. Regardless, Scott learned the bagpipes and went on to play them on stage with the band for years. And George also came up with the chanting of TNT.
He had heard
Angus ad-libbing
shouting oi, and then got him to record it.
Yeah. So I give the album a good spin there today and the last few days. It's very good.
It's very, very good.
It is very good.
It's timeless. It's mad to think that was their start.
Yeah. Holy shit, that's nearly 50 years old.
Yeah, it's 50 years old the year after next. It's
Holy-
48 years old
Let that
this
just
year.
sink in for a minute.
48 years old this year.
And still touring.
Yeah. Still touring.
That's mental.
Did you hear the story of how they come up with High Voltage?
Enlighten me.
So Angus sat down with his guitar one evening before going to the studio to warm up, so the story goes, and said, right, ACDC, let me try this. A, C, D, C. He played those four chords.
Yeah.
He was like, this sounds pretty good. ACDC is High Voltage. ACDC High Voltage, that's what we'll call the album, High Voltage.
Yeah, yeah. And I did hear something else about it. Have they a sister?
I didn't hear anything
Something
about
about they've seen something on one of her like hair dryers or something.
that. Oh, okay.
Look, it could be early Jan's
you wouldn't know.
told. But I did hear what you said about the chords.
Yeah, and he said he couldn't wait to get to the studio to show it to Malcolm. Malcolm
Yeah.
was like, yeah, sounds pretty good, cool, let's go with it.
The songs then, It's a Long Way to the Top, is we're pretty familiar with Metallica concerts because
Yeah.
it's the Metallica's
open
coming
up.
to the stage before the Ecstasy of Gold. Rock and Roll Singer, I had said to you, like, well,
You thought
let's
they
give it
were
its,
very similar.
we'll give it its flowers first before we Yeah.
Before we pick at them.
I think obviously, right, High Voltage and, you know, It's a Long Way to the Top. But you know what my favourite song is?
Enlighten me.
Little Lover.
It's a great song.
Fucking
A
deadly.
great song.
It's so bluesy.
Yeah.
Such a nice riff. Bon Scott's vocals, like, whatever about Brian Johnson, like, you know what I mean, like,
They're two different animals though.
but
They're not remotely the same
no,
to me.
no, they're not. But Bon Scott's voice was just, he had something. He was different.
There was something very unique about
He
it.
was very unique. I thought he was different. Even his delivery, he's almost like he's reading poetry in some of the songs.
I
He
love
doesn't sing
the
them. like-
chorus, A Little Lover,
yeah,
is almost like he's a few pints in him in the pub.
yeah,
And he's trying to wind someone up by putting on a similar voice,
yeah,
or imitating a voice
Mm.
to, you know, like get in your ear.
yeah.
You know, when you impersonate
Yeah.
someone, that's what it reminds me of.
I love the bluesiness of it. I forgot how, I said it to you during the week, I forgot how bluesy the album is. Like, it's just nice. You know, I've mentioned it before. That's a fucking drinking album.
Yes, that is a drinking album.
That's a
if ever
drinking
there was.
album. If you have a
What
few,
would be your drink of choice for that album?
anything.
Give me a couple of cold bottles.
Just a couple of cold beers and a few friends, and that in the background. That is a great album. Just white noise kind of just in the
Yeah.
background, because every now and again you'll just lean the ear over and be like, there we go. Just, but that Little Lover, I wish we could play it, we can't. It's just Little Lover, do do do, the bass in it even. It's just, but like, as we've chatted before, like the rhythm, like Malcolm, like, kept the whole thing going too,
Malcolm
didn't he?
Young's rhythm playing was absolutely impeccable.
And the two of them, and like, of course, Angus, even in later albums, probably would have gone a bit more crazy on some solos and stuff like that. But I think I'd take this album over the other ones.
All the solos are very tasty. Phrasing's top class.
Yeah,
You know, like for that being the first album,
yeah,
all of those tracks are iconic. Live Wire's one of my favourite ACDC tracks in general.
yeah, very good. Myself and yourself had a chat during the week about Can I Sit Next to You, girl?
Yeah.
And you said to me, what does this remind you of? And I'm sitting there and I was driving and I stuck it on and it did cross my mind, what does this? And then when you text me, I was like, what does it? And then I go, fucking Tin Lizzy.
Yes. first thing I thought of, and I had asked 3 or 4 other people, could they pick it up, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I said,
Papa
if
Bear
there's,
did.
I said, if there's one man, and I said, I guarantee to myself, I said, I guarantee he'll text me back within 3 minutes. Then Lizzie.
Yeah, no, it hit me straight. Something off Jailbreak. There's a piece in that song, and it has the riffs in it, and I think it's the song that remember I said is on the Brennan's ad.
Okay, yeah.
Which one was that?
Yeah, Running Back.
Yeah. Faster. If Running Back was faster.
I think it's that bit after the, you know, the
it's so Lizzie. You can just see Phil just bouncing on the stage to that riff. Like, look at, they all have little pulls and grabs of here and there of all these different songs, but great tune as well. She's Got Balls, I think it's a cool 70s riff.
You know, that song was actually written about Bon Scott's ex-wife.
Yeah. I don't know if I wrote that down. I did. Oh shit, I have more notes. His ex-wife. Let me see, I forget what I wrote down. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Her name was Peja.
Her name was Irene.
Her name was Irene.
And the young brother, yeah. Oh, here we go. Little Lover had been a song that Malcolm had been tinkering with since he was 14. Yeah. And it had been originally titled Front Row Fantasies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which of was it Little Lover or no, the Jack?
Yeah, I'll go to the Jack in a second. Can I Sit Next to You, Gail, predates Bon Scott's involvement in the band.
It was with their old
former
lead singer.
Do you remember his name?
Something Evans.
Dave Evans. Very good. Now the Jack.
This is a great one.
Did I not write that?
Great story.
I did write it down on the original. So the lyrics were developed by Scott, who was inspired by a letter Malcolm Young received during a tour of Adelaide.
And it was a lady.
The letter was from a woman in Melbourne, and she implied that Malcolm had given her an STD.
A venereal disease.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go that vulgar. Although he claims that when he got tested, he was clean. Yeah. But you know what I love about that song, right? It has humour, right? And I think the original lyrics had to be pulled back as though like
they were supposed to be very vulgar.
Yeah, but
I'd actually love to hear those.
Yeah,
laugh.
But you know the way they used the deck of cards, and I didn't know that she had a full house and 2 pair.
I should have known.
I have to actually get them lyrics up. I can't play it, unfortunately.
Was the ones to bring me down?
It was so well written, and how he composed it. Let me see if I can get the. She gave me a queen. She gave me the queen. She gave me the king. She was wheeling and dealing, just doing her thing. She was holding a pair, but I had to try. Her deuce was wild, but my ace was high. But how was I to know that she'd been dealt with before? She'd said she'd never had a full house, but I should have known. From the tattoo on her left leg and the garter on her right, she'd have the card to bring me down if she played it right. She's got the jack. Poker face was her name. Poker face was her nature. Poker straight was her game. If she knew she could get you. She played him fast, she played him hard. She could close her eyes and feel every card. But how was I to know that she'd been shuffled before? She'd never had a royal flush, but I should have known that all them cards were coming from the bottom of the pack. And if I'd known what she'd been dealing out, I'd have dealt it back. She's got the jack. Fucking brilliant.
Just so good.
So
humorous.
Very humorous.
A lot of intelligence had to go into that.
A lot of intelligence. But very, very funny and amazing at a live show. Because a lot of these, like, look, as a musician, you can talk more. But, like, let's call a spade a spade. It's not the most technical music ever written.
No, it's not, but there's a feel to it.
There's 100% a feel to it, and it works. And I think it was the right time. It was the right time for them to do what they did. It was kind of like we just talked about, the blues was still happening, but they were almost like they were morphing the 60s, 70s blues and pushing into the hard rock.
And what I like about you saying that too leads on to what I had read about it. When they went to England to tour the stuff, they said that no one really knew where to class them in the genre. So they threw them in with the punk.
That's right, I read that.
Because, you know, the Sex Pistols were big at the time.
Yeah.
But the boys had gone on to say, mainly being Angus and Malcolm, was like, we weren't punk.
Yeah.
And Malcolm supposedly had said, we weren't punk and we weren't new wave. You know, so new wave.
They were, that's what I'm saying,
metal.
yeah. They were kind of.
And Angus had said, we're a fucking rock and roll band.
Yeah.
And that's what we are.
Yeah. Yeah,
they had some great takes on punk music and new wave, and they No, but they had said the music didn't really change; it was the style. You know, it was the clothes. Now, you can argue the music did sort of change.
It did, yeah.
But when it comes to chords and when it comes to all the rest, there was a lot of, what should I say, innovation in some of the new wave stuff. The punk stuff, you could say, was more rough and ready.
Here's a question for you that's a musician, right? Would you guess that the material that they come up with, right, the fact that yes, it had a feel, it had a groove, but the fact that it was pretty simple, right, do you think it ever come into the mind that other people's going to replicate this and going to be able to enjoy playing with it? Do you think that ever come into it?
I don't know.
You know the way like lyrics are sometimes written to be performed live, to get the crowd to engage and sing back. Like, I wonder was any of the melodies like,
oh, this'll be anthemic.
This'll be like, oh, this could be like the gateway kind of music for musicians to start to play.
I don't think so.
Probably not. It's probably thinking too much.
Yeah, I think.
You know, like the Black Album was made to get people into the heavier stuff, kind of.
Yeah, or that it was, they tried to break more mainstream, which I still love that story of the Metallica lads going to the strip club and girls being on by Motley Crue, and that was Lars's thing, was like, exactly, like, what's wrong? He's like, that, like, what are you on about? He's like, how can Motley Crue get played in the strip club and Metallica can't?
Oh yeah.
This is what Metallica needs to do.
But yeah, maybe I was thinking fucking crazy there.
No, I wouldn't think so, Gavin. With a first album, I think they were likely just having fun and doing.
Yeah, maybe just worked out that, you know the way like an awful lot, and you'd see it too teaching, like the first few songs you'd probably give young fellas to learn is ACDC stuff.
Yeah, when you get into the hard rock stuff where you're bridging that gap between, what should I say, acoustic guitar, maybe some Tom Petty stuff on an electric, you're going AC/DC.
Yeah. Before
you go to Guns N' Roses, before you go to Metallica, before you go to whatever else they want to learn.
But they tore the shit out of that fucking album.
Yeah, they really did.
Oh man, they worked hard. Like, you know, people be saying the hardest working band here and there, but Jesus, they have to be up there.
Yeah.
They're still on the road.
Hard. They're still going.
Nearly 50 years after this album.
Which is crazy to think. Angus isn't even 70 yet.
Yeah, they were young.
So he was only 17 or 18 when they released it.
But you know, like the song Rock and Roll
20 maybe.
Rock and Roll Singer, and the lyrics about my mum and dad wanted to be what was it, a lawyer man,
and a doctor or a lawyer man,
and he's like, I just want to be a rock and roll singer. I love that. It's so again, we keep saying, well, I keep probably saying the same things, it's relatable.
Yes.
It's,
you know, even with
easy to sing back. It's easy to sing.
Catchy.
It's catchy. It has the hook. It has the rhythm.
The flow of the lyrics is absolutely brilliant because it catches you. It sticks in your head.
Yeah.
And it's a short and sweet story. It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but it works.
And you think of it, there's not a whole pile of lyrics.
No.
If you read them on a sheet.
What is it, 44 minutes like?
Yeah, like even per song. You know, for
3
It's
minutes,
a Long
I'd
Way.
say, on average. 3 or 4 minutes.
It's a Long Way is 5 minutes.
Right.
It's a longer one, but that's because there's a lot of music in it.
And it was cut.
Yeah. Oh, just a class album. I think it's my favourite ACDC album.
I think it is too.
I do love Back in Black, but there are a number of songs I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of the hits on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd say that I'm not a fan of. That's wrong for me to say. I haven't given them enough of a chance. High Voltage, I have listened to the whole way through many's a time, and it's something that's on my teaching curriculum a good bit before I go into any of the rest.
Yeah. I think the only one that I might skip over is She Got Balls. I think it's just
so.
Yeah, it's a bit, you know, fun. First time you hear it, it's funny, and then it's like
this.
But overall, I would highly rate this album. Rately high. It is a very, very good album. Like I said, it's a timeless album. It's an iconic album yet again, and proof's in the pudding. These boys are still selling out to 80,000 people nearly 50 years after releasing it. That's blown my mind tonight,
which is unreal.
Crazy.
It is a very, very good point to make that off the back of that album, and considering what was heavy metal at the time, you cannot say that AC/DC are hard rock or heavy metal, in my opinion. Because Black Sabbath,
I was going to say Sabbath,
would have been knocking on the door in those days. But Sabbath's music
that was heavy
is
metal.
Miles heavier compared to
this is what, to me, that album's more blues.
That's rock and roll.
Rock and roll, blues, rock and roll.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it hard rock.
No, it's rock and roll.
It's not even a...
And what I love more about it is they had said that themselves. We wanted to be a rock and roll band. What we do well, what we enjoy doing.
But they were good,
and it's what we do best.
They were good performers as well.
But they were what they set out to be.
Yeah.
So the intention was there.
Yeah. Obviously the school uniform and all that. Like, they put on a hell of a show. I remember watching DVDs back in, I think it was 91 or 92 in the Pint. And like, fucking crazy. The stuff that they had, they were ahead of the game.
Yeah. Did you have that one from Donington, the Thunderstruck Razor's Edge sort of?
It was an indoor gig. I remember my neighbour had, they used to show me it. But it was an indoor show, and it was...
Remember that DVD with Angus on the front of it? It was all done in sort of orange and black.
Yeah. But I'd say like the likes of merchandise and stuff like that, they were one of the first ones to push all that, I think.
Huge. And especially with that logo.
Yeah.
You know, anytime I think of AC/DC, I think the red and yellow logo and the sort of flames on the black background.
Yeah.
You know, Angus wielding the SG.
Yeah. Deadly. I really enjoyed reviewing that album.
Yeah.
Really did. It's definitely up there. It's up there on the list. So that's our album, isn't it?
That's our album review for this week.
We'll let the folks know about our Patreon, Luke.
I think we will. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you might be sick of hearing it by now, but for our new listeners, we have a Patreon page. And on that Patreon page, there are a number of perks that you will be entitled to. Shall you subscribe? Should you subscribe?
Yes.
One of those is that we will give away a vinyl copy, a digital copy, or a CD copy of the album, depending what category you subscribe to, of one of the albums
that we do a month.
One of the album reviews we do. We do one every week, so you would have the choice of 4 albums
in that month.
Or if you are in the vinyl copy, you could have the chance of whichever one that you want.
And we have 3 options. There's a €2 a month
just to support the podcast.
A €5 a month as well. You can get early episodes and discounted merch, or the €10 a month, and that's what gets you into the monthly giveaways, which will be, as Luke says,
the €5 will actually get you into the giveaway as well, but it will only be for the CD or the digital.
Yeah.
And then the €10 a month, you will be in with the chance to win the vinyl.
Yeah. And another quick note we have to mention is the the Letterkenny Bookshop. Books. Oh God, what's the name of it? It's gone out of my head. It's the. Oh my lord! It's the bookshop in Letterkenny anyway. The vinyl shop, Universal Books in Letterkenny. Jesus, apologies. They were very kindly supported us by donating an album to give away.
That we'll have to review.
The Grateful Dead.
Jerry Garcia and the boys.
Yeah, from New Jersey in 1987. Absolutely cool. Very kindly sponsored by the boys up in Letterkenny. If you are into your vinyls or your collectibles, CDs or stuff like that, check out their Facebook page, Universal Books Letterkenny. They do hourly updates on vinyls and stuff like that.
They have some cool stuff. Original pressings,
everything.
First pressings, one back to black. I saw one bad, one a Thriller.
Yeah, I seen Thriller up today. I was actually going to buy it, but I've spent all my money this week. They are sound men as well. So if you happen to be up around Letterkenny or you're interested in your vinyl collection, call into the boys and mention our names. It will help as well. So a big thank you to the boys. All right, catch you next week.
Thank you very much.